Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Anita Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gaura Hari Bol, Nita Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nita Gaura Hari Bol. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल. Hare Krishna everyone. We welcome you all to our Gita Jayanti festival today. So we're going to recite the whole Bhagavad-Gita start to end. So we are just beginning now. So our target is to finish by 4 o'clock. So let's see how it goes. You know, the more faster we chant, the more quicker we'll be able to finish. So we're going to start the Gita recitation now. We're going to read some of the Mangala Charan, which is the auspicious invocation before we start. So we got enough strength. Then we'll start reading. Those who are sitting there, you can come a bit forward so you can sit a bit nicely if you want to, or you can sit on the chair. So make yourself comfortable, whatever is comfortable to you. Yeah? Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is a very glorious day. We all know about Bhagavad-Gita. We read Bhagavad-Gita, we know few shlokas, we know some stories behind Bhagavad-Gita, but we don't get an opportunity to hear Bhagavad-Gita start to end. Do we all get it? Do you all do it every day? No? So today is the day where we have the opportunity to hear Bhagavad-Gita start to end. And how many of you understand Sanskrit? Yeah, one. Most of us, we don't understand Sanskrit. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he translated the Bhagavad Gita shlokas into English. So today, we'll be reading English translation. Some of our children, they'll come later on, they'll be reciting Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit because their parents, they've taught them Sanskrit. So we'll hear some Sanskrit verses also. But most of the time, we'll be reading the English translation of Bhagavad Gita shlokas. So we'll take turn by turn. So we'll start with the first chapter. Bhagavad Gita has got how many chapters? Anybody knows? Yeah. 18. Give a big round of applause to her. What's your name? Ananya. Yes, you have got 4th chapter today, yeah? Okay. Give a round of applause to Ananya. She is going to recite the shlokas in Sanskrit. Yeah. And how many shlokas altogether in Bhagavad Gita? Total shlokas? 700. Yeah. So if anybody, so if you want to kind of boast of that Bhagavad Gita, at least you can tell this. Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. Yeah, and it has got 700 shlokas. So at least you know something about that. Then I'm going to tell you one little analogy by which you can really remember Bhagavad Gita all the time. How many of you ate sandwich in your life? Sandwich, everybody? Yeah? So how many bread sandwich has? 2 breads, okay? And what is there in the middle? Some filling, okay? So if it is a cheese sandwich, where does the cheese goes? In the middle. If it is a vegetable sandwich, where does the vegetable go? If it is a tomato sandwich, where does the tomato go? In the middle. So how do you identify the sandwich? By what goes in the middle of the 2 breads. Okay? So Bhagavad Gita teaches us the bhakti or devotion to Krishna. That is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. So from Bhagavad Gita, we learn how to love God. How to do bhakti. So Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. First 6 chapters and last 6 chapters. These are the 2 breads. Or remember now? Yeah, and there are middle 6 chapters which talks about the bhakti or devotion. So 18 chapters, first and last 6 chapters bread, which kind of covers the bhakti. What are the rules and regulations of bhakti? And right in the middle, Krishna talks about the bhakti. So we'll start the first 6 chapters now, which will prepare our consciousness. Then we come to the next middle 6 chapters from 13 to 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, no. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so those 6 chapters, Krishna talks about bhakti. So be very attentive in those 6 chapters. And then Krishna talks about the other ancillary things, universal form and 3 modes of material nature, some technical stuff. So would you all remember this analogy? Maybe you can go home today and eat sandwich, and then you will remember Bhagavad Gita. So whenever you eat sandwich in your life, you remember Bhagavad Gita. And what does Bhagavad Gita teach? It teaches bhakti. And where there is a bhakti is in Bhagavad Gita? In the middle 9 chapters, middle 6 chapters. Okay? So now we know all about Bhagavad Gita, yeah? So you all are excited? Yeah. Okay, Hari Bol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So where was the Bhagavad-Gita recited? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, just before the war about to begin. So Krishna is a charioteer of Arjuna, and they are both friends. And Arjuna, he was ready to fight the opposite party, but before the fighting, he told Krishna, I want to know who is there in the opposite party. And then when he sees that, he becomes a little upset or afraid, says, how can I fight with my friends and my parents? So in this first chapter, and then the next chapter, Krishna talks about the summary of Bhagavad Gita in second chapter, and then Krishna talks about in detail, karma yoga, dhyan yoga, so forth and so on. Yeah. So, so we'll start with the first chapter. Is this font big enough? Everybody can read? In the last row, you can all read it? Okay. So the first chapter is titled, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Text 1. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yudhana, Virata and Drupada. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Dhrishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraja, Purujit, Kuntibhoja and Saibya. There are the mighty Yudamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all are experienced in military science. Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell, called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devdatta. And Bhima, the voracious eater and the performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell, called Poundra. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijay, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Manipushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Dhrishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in the military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjay said, O descendant of the Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of the both parties. In the presence of the Bhishma, Drona and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only cause of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. O Govinda, of what avail to us our kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? O Janardhan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in the acts of sin? With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy the royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed, unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. This is the end of the first chapter. Now the second chapter, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Now this is one of the longest chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. The actually entire Gita is summarized in this one chapter only. And then Krishna will give the high points like bullet points. And then the rest of the 16 chapters, Krishna tells Gita in detail. So I'll hand over to Balram and he will do the second chapter.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy." Arjuna said, "O killer of the enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven." Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, "Govinda, I shall not fight," and fell silent. O descendant of Bharata, at this time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy this imperishable soul. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays, nor is slain. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation? Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties, and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous types of fear. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommended various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your actions, and never be attached not doing your duty. Perform your duty equipoised. O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure, such equanimity is called yoga. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their works are misers. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state being beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged into transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from the mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under the full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. From anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls again into the material pool. But a person free from all attachment and aversion, and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer in such satisfied consciousness. One's intelligence is soon well established. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. What is night for all beings in the time of awakening for the self-controlled? And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. A person who is not disturbed by the innocent flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life. After attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
Chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in the ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work, my intelligence is bewildered by your evocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and the others by devotional service. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is far superior. Perform your prescribed duty for doing so in better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in the material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, Be thou happy by this yajna. Because of its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifice, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. In charge for various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. The devotees of Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Other who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and the yajna is born of prescribed duties. Regulated activities are prescribed in Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in the acts of sacrifice. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly lead a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. But for the one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reasons not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment one attains the Supreme. Kings such as Janak attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Whatever actions a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary act, all the worlds pursues. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all this world would be put to ruination. I would be the cause for creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to the results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading the people on the right path. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive result of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. The spirit soul, bewildered by influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of all activities that are actually carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. One who is in knowledge of absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between the work and devotion and work for fruitive result. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in the material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your work onto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follows these teachings faithfully, without envy, would become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in the endeavors for perfection. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the 3 modes. What can repression accomplish? There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachments and aversions, because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duty perfectly. Destruction is the cause of performing one's own duty is better than engaging another's duty, for to follow another's path is dangerous. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful act, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? The Supreme Personality of God had said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. As the fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. Thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like a fire. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are sitting in the place of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, which is lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. The working senses are superior to dull matter, mind is higher than the senses, intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, which is Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength, conquer the insatiable enemy known as the lust.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prashant Prabhu. Thank you so much. The next chapter, which is titled Transcendental Knowledge, chapter 4, this will be recited by our Andrew Prabhu.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivisvan, and Vivisvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivisvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me, and although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty, following in their footsteps. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Others, who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses, offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Still others, who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and, having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrificing one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or, in other words, that they are mine. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapons of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharat, stand and fight.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Andrew Prabhu. This is so kind of you. Now the next chapter, chapter 5. Anybody like to volunteer to read this chapter 5? We have this chapter available to read. Anybody like to read? Any volunteers? Want to read, Prabhu? Yeah.
Hello, Hare Krishna. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Arjuna said, O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? The personality of God replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, the work in devotion service is better than renunciation of work. One who neither hates nor desires a fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person is free from all dualities, easily overcome material bondage, and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Only the ignorant speak of devotion service, Karma Yoga, as being different from analytical study of material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves results of both. One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical studies can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical studies and devotional services to be on the same level, see things as they are. Merely by renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. One who works in devotion, who is pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and he is aloof from them. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results into the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, and the lotus leaf is untouched by water. The yogis, abandoning attachment, acts with the body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses only for the purpose of purification. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of labor, becomes entangled. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All is enacted by the modes of material nature. Nor does the Supreme Lord assumes everyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers the real knowledge. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which the nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything as the sun lights up everything in a daytime. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight to the path of liberation. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog-eater outcast. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the condition of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something present nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and one who knows the science of God, is already situated in transcendence. Such a liberal person is not attracted by material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, and he is concentrated on the Supreme. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist, aiming at liberation, becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One is always in this state is certainly liberated. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wishers of all living beings, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Manjunath Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we are coming to the 6th chapter now. Is Sneha Mataji here?
Hare Krishna, Chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. What is called renunciation? You should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi, or mystic, when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses, and activities and fixing the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, neck, and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind, and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In the joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with a determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without expectation all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. The yogi, whose mind is fixed on me, verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and does not attain perfection in mysticism? O mighty armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Or, if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. O son of Kuru, by virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately, achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances be a yogi. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sneha. Hare Krishna. So we have finished the first third of the Bhagavad-Gita. So give a round of very big applause to all of you. I thought it's going to take longer time, but we are keeping up very much good time. So we gave the analogy of sandwich. So our first bread is over. Now we are going to the real filling of the Bhagavad-Gita. So now next 6 chapters, they are very important chapters. So I request all of you to be very attentive in reading these chapters. Our 7th chapter will be recited by Srinidhi. Is he here? Oh, he's here, very nicely dressed. Now he's going to recite Sanskrit in Sanskrit. So let him recite in Sanskrit, and we'll have the chapters in the English here. We'll scroll it down. So those who want to hear Sanskrit, just hear them. Those who want to read in the mind, they can just read it from the screen here. Is that okay? Yeah?
ओम परमात्मने नमः। अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यासक्तमनः पार्थ योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः असंशयं समग्रं मां यथा न्यास्यसि तच्छृणु। ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम् इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यज् ज्ञातव्यमवशिष्यते। मनुष्याणां सहस्रेषु कश्चिद्यतति सिद्धये यदतामपि सिद्धानां कश्चिन्मां वेति तत्त्वतः। भूमिरापो नलो वायुः कं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इति यं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा। भूमिरापो नलो वायुः कं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहङ्कार इति यं मे भिन्ना प्रकृतिरष्टधा। अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धारिते जगत्। एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणीत्युपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयस्तथा। मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय। मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव। रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशि सूर्ययोः। प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः के पौरुषं नुषु। पुण्यो गन्धः पृथिव्यां च तेजश्चास्मि विभावसौ। जीवनं सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु। बीजं मां सर्वभूतानां विद्धि पार्थ सनातनं। बुद्धिर्बुद्धिमतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामतम्। बलं बलवतां चाहं कामरागविवर्जितं। धर्माविरुद्धो भूतेषु कामोऽस्मि भरतर्षभ। ये चैव सात्विका भावा राजसास्तामशाश्च ये मत्त एवेति तान् विद्धि न त्वहं तेषु ते मयि। त्रिभिर्गुणमयैर्भावैः येभिः सर्वमिदं जगत् मोहितं नाभिजानाति मामेभ्यः परमव्ययं। दैवी ह्येषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरित्यया। मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते। न मां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते न राधमाः न मायया अपहृतज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुरर्ताति ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ तेषां ज्ञानी नित्ययुक्ता एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनोऽत्यक्तम् अहं स च मम प्रियः उदारा सर्व एवैते ज्ञानित्वात्मैव मे मतम् आस्थितः स हि युक्तात्मा मामेव अनुत्तमां गतिं बहूनां जन्मनामन्ते ज्ञानवान् मां प्रपद्यते वासुदेवः सर्वमिति समहात्मा सुदुर्लभः कामैस्तैस्त्रैहृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्ताय प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया यो यो यां यां तनुं भक्तः श्रद्धया चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलां श्रद्धां तामेव विददाम्यहं सतया श्रद्धया युक्तः तस्याराधनमीहते लभते च ततः कामान् मयैव विहितान् हितान् अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते मामबुद्धयः परं भावमजानन्तः ममाव्ययमनुत्तमं नाहं प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाय समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययं वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्यानि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेषसमुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलं साधिभूताधिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगो नाम सप्तमोऽध्यायः.
Hare Krishna. So give you a big round of applause to Srinidhi's sister. So we have a hidden superstars here, so very nice. So next year we are going to, just for the information, next year we are going to have 2 Gita Jayanti. One Gita Jayanti will be done in Sanskrit shloka with the proper havan, fire sacrifice, so you can all do swaha and a little lot of smoke here. And the other Gita Jayanti will be just reading the English translation. So next year will be 2 Gita Jayantis. Yeah? So many of our children that time, they'll recite everything in Sanskrit. Now we're going to go to the 8th chapter where Amanda Mataji, she's going to recite the 8th chapter. Hare Krishna.
Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Who is the Lord of Sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and this eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and the moon, is called Adidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Supersoul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyagya, the Lord of Sacrifice. And whoever at the end of this life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjun, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. He who meditates on me is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path. He, O Partha, is sure to reach me. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, and he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkar, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together from the duration of Brahma's by human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. O best of the Bharats, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light, in an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjun, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Amara Mataji, thank you so much. You are going to the chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, and this will be recited in Sanskrit by Ananya. Hello Ananya. She's just 7 years old. Yeah, and she will be reciting in Sanskrit. So, best of luck to all of us. Hare Krishna. Go on Ananya. Hare Krishna.
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ नवमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं तु ते गुह्यतमं प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे ज्ञानौ विज्ञानसहिते यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्। राजविद्या राजगुह्यं पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्म्यं सुसुखं कर्तुमव्ययम्। अश्रद्धधानाः पुरुषा धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि। मया ततमिदं सर्वै जगदौ व्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः। न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्। भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावना। यथाकाशस्थितो नित्यं वायुः सर्वत्र गो महान् तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानीत्युपधारय। सर्वभूतानि कौन्तेय प्रकृतिं यान्ति मामिकां। कल्पक्षये पुनस्तानि कल्पादौ विसृजाम्यहम्। प्रकृतिं स्वामवष्टभ्य विसृजामि पुनः पुनः। भूतग्राममिमं कृत्स्नम् अवशं प्रकृतिर्वशात्। न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय। उदासीनवदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु। मयाध्यक्षेण प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम्। हेतुदानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विपरिवर्तते। अवजानन्ति मां मूढा मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं। परं भावमजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरम्। मोघाशमोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानविचेतसः। राक्षसीमान्सुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रित। महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ देवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिताः। भजन्त्यनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम्। सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्तश्च दृढव्रताः। नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते। ज्ञानज्ञत्नेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतोमुखम् अहङ्क्रतुरहंयज्ञस् स्वधाहमहमौषधम् मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाच्यम् अहग्निरहमहुतम् पिताहमस्य जगतो माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कार रुक्सामयजुरेव च गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवशः शरणं सृहत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानं निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहमहो वर्षन् निघृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृते चैव मृत्युश्च सतसच्चाहमर्जुन त्रैविद्या मां सोमपापूतपापा यत्नैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देवभोगान् ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकौ विशालन् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकौ विशन्ति एवं ते धर्ममनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्यभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमव्यवहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्त्या यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्य विधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वैर्यज्ञानं भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेन चतिवन्तते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पृथुन्यान्ति पृथव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्य यान्ति माढ्योजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलन्तो यै यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यथाकाशस्थितो यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोसि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवं मोक्षसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां पार्थ तु मां भक्त्या मयि तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यस् सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्त्या प्रणश्यति मां हि पार्थ व्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि सूयः पापयोन्ययः शीतो वैश्यस्तथा शूद्रास् तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम् किं पुनर्ब्रह्मणाः पुण्य भक्त्या राजस्थयस्तथा अनित्यं सुखल्लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व मां मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगो नाम नवमोऽध्यायः। ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Hare Krishna. So I didn't have to ask you to give a big applause. She said it so wonderfully. So Ananya, next year you have to do 2 chapters. Okay? We book you now only. So give a big round of applause to her mother also, Mega Mataji. The children, they learn these nice, wonderful things, but all credit goes to their parents as well. They spend a good time, quality time to teach these things to the children. It's wonderful, Ananya. Thank you so much. This is the 9th chapter. The 9th chapter is called the most confidential knowledge. So if you still remember, in sandwich, this is the middle part, and this is the middle of middle part. 9th chapter is right in the center of Bhagavad-Gita. And Andrew, if you can just go to the 34th shloka of the 9th chapter. So this shloka 34, where Krishna says, engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. This is the most important and the shloka that one should remember in their life. This is actually the shloka Krishna wants us to learn and understand. That if you want to get out of this material world, what is the key? So the key is this shloka. Where Krishna is saying, engage your mind always in thinking of me. So engage your mind, become my devotees, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Basically surrender to Krishna. What Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, Krishna says the same thing here. Being completely absorbed in me, surely will come to me. So Krishna says, just be absorbed in me. Once you're absorbed in me, at the end of the life, you will think about me. Then you will come back to me. So this is the most important shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhakto midya jimam namaskaru. I forgot the next line. But by worshipping Krishna, we'll go back home, back to Godhead. So for today, if you don't remember any other shloka, please remember this shloka. So this is, when we want to protect a very expensive diamond in the house, you hide him in the most secure part of the house, isn't it? So this is the most middle part of the Bhagavad Gita. 9th chapter, last shloka. Okay, between the 9th and 10th chapter. So verse 34, this is the most glorious and important shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Which Krishna says, if you want to come back to me, just surrender to me, become my devotees. And then Krishna says here, surely you will come to me. He gives guarantee. It's not that, I will think about it, He says, surely, if you become my devotees, you will come to me. So thank you all very much, Ananya. It's so kind of you. And thank you so much, Megha Mataji, for training her so nicely. So now we'll go to the 10th chapter. The 10th chapter will be done by our Vinay Prabhu. Is he here? Yeah. Do you want to sit there or here?
Hare Krishna. Chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty armed Arjun, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Neither the hosts of demigod nor the great sages know my origin or my opulences. For in every respect I am the source of all demigods and sages. He knows me as the unborn, as the beginless, and the supreme Lord of all the worlds. He only undeluded among men is freed from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy, all these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala and Vyas confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency. O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardhan, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yes, I will tell you in my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjun, for my opulence is limitless. I am the Super Soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle and the end of all beings. Of Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of light, I am the radiant sun. Of Maruts, I am Marichi, and among the stars, I am the moon. Of the Vedas, I am the Samaved. Of demigods, I am Indra. Of King of Heaven, the King of Heaven. Of the senses, I am the mind. And in the living beings, I am the living force, consciousnness. Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshasas, I am Rakshas. I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuver. Of the Vasus, I am fire, Agni, and of mountains, I am Meru. Of priests, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, Brihaspati. Of generals, I am Kartikeya, and of the bodies of water, I am the ocean. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, Jap. And of immovable beings, I am the Himalayas. Of all the trees, I am the banyan tree, and of all the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitrarath, and among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapil. Of horses, know me to be Uchcharishrava, produced during the churning of the ocean for nectar. Of lordly elephants, I am Airavat, and among men, I am the monarch. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am Surbhi. Of causes for procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love, and of serpents, I am Vasuki. Of many-hooded Nagas, I am Ananta, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varun. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlad. Among subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion, and among birds, I am Garud. Of purifiers, I am the wind. Of the wielders of weapon, I am Ram. Of fishes, I am Shark, and of flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. Of all the creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle, O Arjuna. Of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Of letters, I am the letter A, and among compound words, I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators, I am Brahma. I am all devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Of the hymns of Samaved, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of the months, I am Margashirsh, November, December, and of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid, I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjun. Of the sages, I am Vyas, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of wise man, I am the wisdom. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seat of all existence. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Vinay Prabhu. That's so kind of you. Next chapter, the universal form. Anybody like to read this chapter? We do not have anybody volunteers for this chapter. Anybody who is feeling adventurous today? Want to read again, Prabhu? Yeah, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 11, the universal form. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearances and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see you how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of very divine and multicolored forms. O best of Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire and to see whatever you may have want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me in your present eyes, therefore I give you this divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displays his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Personal in that universal form. At that time, Arjuna could see the universal form of the Lord, the unlimited expansion of universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on the end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouth, and eyes, expanded everywhere, without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of eternal religion, the personality of the Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and planet and all the space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sandhyas, the Vishwadevas, the two Ashvish and Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. You mighty arm one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form. With its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth, and as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouth, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all the directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouth.
and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouth. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouth as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all the people from all the sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time and I, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both the sides will be slain. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Savyashachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna and other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offers obeisances with folded hand again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in the faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O great one, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of the Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are supreme refuge above the material modes, O limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are the air, and you are the supreme controller. You are the fire, you are the water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and again and yet again. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all the sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is greater than you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within this three world, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs that I may have done to you. After seeing the universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as personality of Godhead. O Lords of Lord, O abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my eternal potency the supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifice, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from the disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in the mind, and I am restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunities to see this form, which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by this means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional services can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Hare Krishna. That's the end of chapter 11.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prashant Prabhu. That was wonderful of you to recite this chapter. So in chapter 11, this chapter is titled The Universal Form. This is a very wonderful chapter. The Bhagavad-Gita has been read all over the world by all kinds of people, especially the scientists. It is said if you are a scientist and if you really know how this world is working, it is for easy to become a devotee, because then there is some supreme intelligence at work. So last year there was one movie called Oppenheimer. Anybody heard that movie? This is the movie on the scientist who invented nuclear bomb. And when he first time saw the nuclear explosion, it was such a radiant, he remembered the shloka from Bhagavad-Gita. And that shloka was number 12. Prabhuji, if you want to put the shloka number 12. Yeah. So, this is what Arjuna saw, 5,000 years back. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. So when Oppenheimer saw this nuclear explosion, it was so radiant. He remembered this shloka, that the bright effulgence, it is resembling like thousands of suns. So this chapter is very important. In fact, the whole Bhagavad Gita is important. So if you really want to know how this world works, earlier we had this Bhagavad Gita crash course. Now we're going to do a few more crash courses this year, 2024. So Bhagavad Gita gives you the actual knowledge of how to live life. First Bhagavad Gita tells us who we are, who is God, what is this phenomenal world, what is time, and what are my activities in this world. These 5 things it tells us, how to basically teaches us how to live a life. So anyway, I'm not giving class. So this is the 11th, we are beginning now the 12th chapter. So 12th chapter will be recited by Shri Hari. Is he here? Yeah, okay. Is he ready? Okay. So Shri Hari is going to recite in Sanskrit, and I think it will be helped by her sister.
ॐ परमात्मने नमः। अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवान् अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते येषाभ्यक्षरमव्यक्तं के तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया पर्योपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरम् अनिर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्वगमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थम् अचरं ध्रुवं सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्वसमबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः। क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तात् शक्तश्चेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवद्भिरवाप्यते। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मया सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसागसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम्। मय्येव मन आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः। अत चित्तं समादातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततः मामेच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय। अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि। अदैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मृत्युगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मपरित्यागं ततः कुरु यथात्मवान्। श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ज्ञानं विशिष्यते ज्ञानात् कर्मपरित्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम्। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रिः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखाक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यथात्मा दृढनिश्चयः। मय्यर्पितः मनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यस्मान्नोत्पीड्यते लोकानोत्पीड्यते च यः सर्वा हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः। अनवेक्षः श्रुतिरक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यतः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः। यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः। समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समसङ्गविवर्जितः। तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः। ये तु रम्यमिदमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धदानां मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियः। ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः।
Hare Krishna. Wonderful Shri Hari. His name is also very spiritual, Shri Hari. Just chanting his name, we get so much benefit. Hare Krishna, beta. So, we are finished the 12 chapters now. Where are we now after finishing 12 chapters? Our inner feeling of the sandwich is over. Now we are going on to the second bread. Now the sandwich is not complete without the second bread. Otherwise, your feeling will fall over everywhere. Okay. So now the last 6 chapters are also as equally important. So these are not so long chapters. I think the last 2 chapters are a bit longer, but otherwise they are very quick. So I'm sure you all must be hungry by now after sitting for so long. Our Prasadam time is actually now well past time. But I think we won't take more than 45 minutes to finish this next 6 chapters. So please bear with us. Please listen to these chapters very nicely, the last 6 chapters. There are very important instructions are there in this chapter as well. So, would you like to do? Please, yes.
Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, Purusha, nature and the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." O scion of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what its influences are. The knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in the Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to the cause and effect. The 5 great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth, all these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal, Brahman, the spirit, the beginningless and the subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time he is the master of all the modes of material nature. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and unmoving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Although the super soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided, he is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. He is a source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter, and he is unmanifested. He is knowledge, he is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thus, the field of activities, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. The living entity in material nature thus follows the way of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of that tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. O chief of Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both are moving and non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and one who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Those with a vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in the body. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all the universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Sudarshan.
Anybody?
So
14?
The 14. Ahan is doing that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much, Sudarshan. So our hero Ahan is going to recite now next chapter. Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Again I shall declare to you the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can be attained to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of delusion. The total material substance called Brahmana is the source of birth. It is that Brahmana that I am impregnate, making possible the birth of all living beings. O son of Bharata, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possibly by birth in the material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. Material nature consists of the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in the contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desire and longings. O son of Kunti, and because of the embodied living entity is born to material fruitive actions. O son of Bharata, know that the modes of darkness born of ignorance is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. O son of Bharata, the mode of goodness conditions one to passion, happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive actions, and ignorance covering knowledge binds one to the madness. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance. O son of Bharata, sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance, and at other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always a competition for supremacy. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifest. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the pure higher plants of the great stages. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in the future activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. The result of patience action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results is in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. From the mode of passion, greed develops. And from the mode of ignorance develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upwards to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abnormal mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. When he embodies being is able to transcend these three modes of associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior, and how does he transcend the modes of nature?" The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attached and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of the earth and a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, who is situated equally well in the praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. One who engaged in the full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahmana. And I am the basic impersonal of the impersonal Brahmana, which is the immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of all unlimited happiness.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, Anand. That was wonderful. So this is a very important chapter. It's a very important chapter. This is for the three modes of material nature, which it teaches us how this world is working. We are all controlled by these three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And Krishna, if you remember, in the end of 9th chapter, he says how to come out of this world. And here he is giving that, he says, 9th chapter he says, one should come out of this world. How we should come out of this world? By how to react to these three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So Krishna says, be equilibrium. Don't get elated when the happiness comes, or when the sadness comes. Don't get too much sad. So this is what Krishna is mentioning in this chapter. So those who want to really want to know how to live in this world very nicely, you can read this chapter, three modes of material nature. You know exactly how this world works, and you can take very nice from this place. Now we are going to the next chapter, where our Sriniket is going to recite it. He is so enthusiastic. I wish I can be knowing this Bhagavad-Gita at his age. Wonderful. Maybe next life. Go on, Raja.
ॐ परमात्मने नमः। अथ पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलं मदशाकम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययं छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेद स वेदवित् अधस्प्रोद्रं प्रसुतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रविद्रा विषयप्रवाला अरश्रमूलां यदुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादेन च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुरिलूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दिदेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादेन च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुरिलूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दिदेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गतां न निवर्तन्ति भूय तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं विविष्टः पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसुता पुराणी निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा आत्यात्मैत्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वै विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढा परमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयति सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःशस्त्राणीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति चाप्युक्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतामि संयाति वायुगन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुष्पश्नं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनिष्ठायं विषयानुपसेवते उक्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि गुणपुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानः नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजः जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्छं द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकं गामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसां पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहभारत प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य चाहं विसन्निविष्टः मृत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविवेद चाहं द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके शरशाक्ष एव च शरसर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेयुदाहृतः प्राणयो लोकत्रयमाविश्य च विभक्त्यव्यय ईश्वरः यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादिपि शोतमः ततोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च पतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवमसम्मूढः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे पुरुषोत्तमयोगो नाम पञ्चदशोऽध्यायः। Hare Krishna.
Many of you would not know he was not having any books. He recited on his own. So give a double haribol, double applause to Shrimita. So our future is bright. When children are doing like this, our future is bright. So now we are going to the next chapter. Next chapter will be done by Megha Mataji. So if you can come forward. This is the divine and the demonic nature, the chapter 16. Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. The divine and the demonic natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy, and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demonic nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demonic. Those who are demonic do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demonic, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust, and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demonic, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense of enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Jai Shri Krishna.
ॐ परमात्मने नमः। अथ सप्तदशोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच ये शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेषां निष्ठा तु का कृष्ण सत्त्वमाहो रजस्तमः श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषः यो यच्छ्रद्धः स एव सः यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरं तप्यन्ते ये तपोजनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्राममचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान् आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिमं शृणु आयुः सत्त्वबलारोग्य सुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृद्या आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः कट्वं ललवनात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्टा दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः यातयामं गतरसं पूतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम् अपलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञः विधिदृष्टो य युज्यते यष्टव्यमेवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः अभिसन्धाय तु फलं दम्भार्थमपि चैव यत् युज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठ तं यज्ञं विद्धि राजसं विधिहीनमसृष्टानं मन्त्रहीनमदक्षिणं श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञं तामसं परिचक्षते देवद्विजगुरुप्राज्ञ पूजनं शौचमार्जवं ब्रह्मचर्यमहिंसा च शारीरं तप उच्यते अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते मनः प्रसादः सौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपोमानसमुच्यते श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अपलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्षते सत्कारमानपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तदिह प्रोक्तं राजसं चलमध्रुवं मूढग्राहेणात्मनः यत्पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसमुदाहृतं दातव्यमिति यद्दानं दीयतेऽनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतं यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलमुद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसंस्मृतम् अदेशकाले यद्दानम् अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतमवज्ञातं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम् ॐ तत्सदिति निर्देशः ब्रह्मणस्त्रिविधः स्मृतः ब्राह्मणास्तेन वेदाश्च यज्ञाश्च विहिताः पुरा तस्मादोमित्युदाहृत्य यज्ञदानतपः क्रियाः प्रवर्तन्ते विधानोक्ताः सततं ब्रह्मवादिनां तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानः क्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः सद्भावे साधुभावे च सदित्येतत् प्रयुज्यते प्रशस्ते कर्मणि तथा सच्छब्दः पार्थ युज्यते यज्ञे तपसि दाने च स्थितिः सदिति चोच्यते कर्म चैव तदर्थीयं सदित्येवाभिधीयते अश्रद्धया हुतं दत्तं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असदित्युच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रेत्य नो ह्यः ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे श्रद्धात्रयविभागयोगो नाम 17. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. So we are on the last chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. This is one of the longest chapter, but it summarizes again Bhagavad-Gita. So please listen it very carefully. Haribol.
Chapter 18, Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyag, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyag. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Acts of sacrifice, charity, penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Pritha. That is my final opinion. Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. The intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities. But he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul, these are the 5 factors of action. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action. According to the 3 different modes of material nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. The action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results, is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion is disregard of scriptural injunctions and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the 3 modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives to always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the 3 kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects and which appears like nectar at first but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own natures in accordance with the material modes, O chastiser of the enemy. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness, these are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras there are labor and service to others. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. It is better to engage in one's own occupation even though one may perform it imperfectly than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature. O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyments can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus I have explained to you all knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt and am prepared to act according to your instructions. Sanjaya said, Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. By the mercy of Vyas, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. Shri Bhagavad-Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare. Shri Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. So we finished exactly in 3 hours. We started at 12:30 and now it's about 3:30, yeah? But 2 minutes over. So give a big round of applause to all of us. So this is the beginning. This is our first Gita Jayanti in Stoke on Trent. As we discussed earlier, next year we're going to have 2 Gita Jayanti, one in Sanskrit with the Havan, another with the English translation. And there are many announcements and many festivals are coming over. I'll hand over to Balram now. He's going to give us some information about what is coming next year and some other information. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I hope you had a very nice Gita Jayanti, and in advance, on behalf of ISKCON Stoke, we wish you a happy new year. Very nice day to do Gita Jayanti on. Not many people celebrate the new year or even Gita Jayanti doing this, so we are very, very fortunate to be doing this. So this year, 2023, we had so many festivals, and we were very active to do different programs. At the start of the year, we had a 6-hour kirtan, and this year was our first 1-year anniversary of ISKCON Stoke, the temple. So lots of things happened. We worshipped Krishna in many different ways. We had programs like Radhashtami, Janmashtami, Gaura Purnima, and many others. And our plan for ISKCON Stoke is for 2024 to double the amount of festivals that we're having and have them bigger and better with more people. So please pray that we're able to do this. We have planned out many festivals for next year. Starting as we are on the topic of the Gita, as we celebrated today, every Sunday for the Sunday Feast lecture, we will start discussing chronologically from the first verse of the Gita all the way to the end, topics on the Gita and discussing each verse. And as it's New Year, we have so many Gitas available in the shop. So if you don't have any, please do take them. I think there's a sale going on at this time. So, and as well as Gitas, we have many calendars. So all of our festivals that are included and the ones that we'll be celebrating next year will be included in those calendars, with even some nice quotes from Srila Prabhupada and different things as well. And one of the biggest events we will be celebrating next year that we are announcing today is Srila Prabhupada's Murti installation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So as you can see where the shop is today, we've had a picture of Srila Prabhupada there. And many people think it's just a picture to fill up the space of the wall. But also if you notice, some devotees that come to the temple, they pay obeisances near the shop. And many people might think, why they pay obeisance to the shop? You know, it's not, the deities are here. Why they pay obeisances here? But it's because Srila Prabhupada, we have known that Srila Prabhupada, when we get his murti here, that will be worshipped, his deity, it will be worshipped right here where the shop is. Therefore, we put the picture there. So the date for Srila Prabhupada's installation will be the 9th of March. Please keep this in mind, save the date. It will be one of the biggest festivals we have ever celebrated in the history of ISKCON Stoke. We will invite many senior devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. How many devotees were here when Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj was here? Some of you. So Keshav Maharaj, he is kindly accepted and offered to also lead the program and join us in this celebration. So on the day, there will be a huge Maha Abhishek of the deity. Normally you'll only see small Abhishek, so small deities maybe a foot high. But this is a life-size deity of Srila Prabhupada that will have a Maha Abhishek and Maha Kirtans and Maha Prasadam, lots of Prasadam. So please save the date. There's lots of talks going on and lots of organizing to be done. Devotees from all across the UK will be coming, so please do not miss out. We are the Stoke congregation, we can't miss our own program. So it's something that the whole UK is anticipating. It's something that does not happen often. It is actually a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not many people get to experience such a celebration. So without further ado, is there any other announcements? Radha Mohan Prabhu, is there any other announcements? Are there any other announcements?
Hare Krishna. So as Balram said, we are going to have many festivals next year. Prabhupada installation will be the biggest one. We are planning on 9th March, which is Saturday, and many devotees are expected on that day. We wanted to show you a small film on the screen, but the technology is not allowing us to show that screen. Maybe next Sunday when you are here, that who is Prabhupada, why is so important in our life that we are celebrating Prabhupada's appearance. Because it is said that you cannot get Krishna without the blessings of a guru. So we want to first welcome the guru in our temple. So we are worshipping Prabhupada with the picture here. But then you get the Prabhupada's Murti there, and then we are expecting a lot of mercy to flow. Today we celebrated Gita Jayanti, with the English translation. It wouldn't have been possible without Prabhupada's mercy. He translated the whole Bhagavad-Gita in English. Now it is available to us. Then we can understand Gita, with the English language. So, in short, without Prabhupada, the ISKCON Stoke wouldn't have existed. So we really want to honor our Guru, Srila Prabhupada. So we'll be showing probably this movie next time. It's connected? Okay. So I think we have some technological breakthrough. Yeah, time. Okay, I know Sudarshan is here. So I think leave it, we note down. I think we have to conclude the Gita by small kirtan. So about 5 minutes of kirtan we'll do, then we can take prasadam. Okay? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah? Huh? Okay. We have to do some thank yous. So dear Andrew Prabhu, he did manage your Bhagavad-Gita scrolling on the screen. Did you all miss any sloka? He was so attentive on doing that service. Then Shrinu, we had this, on the online streaming and, all the technological thing. Then we had the children reciting in Sanskrit. So most of the parents have gone, children have gone, they are hungry. But, we are very thankful to the children. Well, we have, sorry, but I forgot your name. Srinidhi. Yeah, so she and her brothers, they did, they are here now. So give a big round of applause to these parents and children. They did this wonderful recitation. And hopefully next year, maybe all our Sanskrit recitation will be done by the children. We all grown-ups, we can stay back, and they can recite in Sanskrit. So Darshan, you want to do any other thank yous? Yeah. Oh, Hare Krishna. Along with Chitra. So these two ladies, Priyaradi and Chitra, they cooked today's prasadam. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So we'll do the kirtan, 5 minutes kirtan. Don't long, just can sit down because the Gita has to be concluded with the kirtan. The japa is Krishna sir, I am the japa or the kirtan. So let's finish with that one and then we can go for the prasadam. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda, Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Shri Shri Hare Krishna ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Bol.
महाप्रसादे गोविन्दे नाम ब्रह्मणि वैष्णवे सर्वपुण्यवतां राजम् विश्वासोऽयन विजायते शरीरारविद्याजा जोड़ेंदिए ताहे काल जीवे फेले विशेषागरे तारमज्जिवायति लोभमाय सुतुर्मति ताके जेटा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बरोदयामाय कोरे भाई जीव जाय स्वप्रसादम दिलो भाई से नाम रित पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम डाको चैतन्य निताय जय निमाय जय निताय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। महाप्रसाद है की, श्री श्री हरे नाम संकीर्तन की।
Hare Krishna. So we're ready for Prasadam. Just before we go, I want to say thank you so much everyone for coming today and spending your precious time together here in celebrating Gita Jayanti. So we say goodbye to 2023 and say Hare Krishna to 2024. Yeah, so if you all come together chanting Hare Krishna and glorifying the Lord, all our years which are coming ahead will be very wonderful. So let's come together and celebrate our life very nicely. Today being Gita Jayanti, it is nice to spread this, give the charity of Gita to everyone. So what I would request before you go home, if you don't have a Gita in the house, get one Gita from the shop. Balram will be there able to help you, in selling you one Gita copy. If you already have a Gita, then still take one copy and give it to one of your friends and family. There is no other charity or there is no other gift like Bhagavad-Gita. So I request all of you to now conclude the Gita Jayanti by giving the Gita to somebody else. Okay. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Prasadam will be served upstairs. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.